Front Seat Live podcast happily presents my Year of Healing the Hustle podcast, where I, Jessica Butts, psychotherapist, 2.5-time author, corporate trainer, and Myers-Briggs expert, share my raw, vulnerable, honest, and in-the-moment experiences of my journey to heal the hustle. I recently put my money where my mouth was, and I sold everything I owned and moved to Maui with 5 suitcases to explore this healing island. What has come up is a mountain of real-life healing the hustle experiences I hope you can see yourself in, so you can also heal your hustle while still being unapologetically who you are. Let's get started. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Front Seat Life podcast. I am Jessica Butts. This is the Healing the Hustle series on the Front Seat Life podcast. I know it's confusing, but it's what I'm doing at the moment. Today's going to be a mess. You can probably already tell. You can already tell that my energy is wonky, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So I hope I'm going to tie this back to healing the hustle. It's going to be a loose tie-in, but a tie-in in that how to show up when you are not okay. Because part of our hustle is absolutely people-pleasing, absolutely pretending like everything's fine. And I don't like it in other people, and I'm not okay today. I'm not okay today. And I have some notes to keep me on track today, because otherwise it could be a real mess. The cons of doing this in real time, in real life, as I've promised to be doing, I do them on Tuesdays and they come out on Thursdays. And life got real today, and I got kicked in the gut. And I do believe that this is, I really struggled. Let me say that. I really struggled with, do I just not do it? That was option A, just skip a week. Option 2, which is not really an option for me, so I guess it wasn't really one, which is to show up and be fake. To show up and pretend like I don't have super wonky energy. And that is part of, again, this is part of the hustling that we do. This is part of the everything's fine culture. It's part of the waspy culture that I've calling bullshit on. I've been calling bullshit on it since, I don't know, for 11 years probably, that this is just not healthy. It's not healthy to pretend like everything's fine. It's not healthy for us or for our relationships to show up in an inauthentic way and from our back seats. And so the back seat is when we're doing too many things that we suck at, or someone breaks our heart. Someone breaks our heart. This is going to be rough. This is going to be rough. I actually was going to research, has anyone ever done a podcast crying the entire time? I didn't do that, but I kind of wondered. And so again, so option 3 or C, I don't remember what I was saying. Option 3 or C was to do what I'm doing right now, which is continuing to keep it real, continuing to talk about some of my struggles as I am healing the hustle, which is setting boundaries and taking care of myself and being selfish AF. And when we do that, people don't always like it. They react. They're going to get pissed. They're going to get pissed. I probably have that conversation with one of my clients at least once a week, possibly multiple times a week, that as we are changing our energy and we're changing our priorities and we are healing the hustle and we are saying, I'm no longer participating in things that no longer serve me, sometimes people in our lives don't like it. And that is part of healing the hustle, is being okay with it, even when it breaks our heart. So today I am not faking it. I'm absolutely keeping it real. I'm coming from my backseat, and I want you guys to know too, which I certainly hope I've been doing. I've listened to old episodes and like, I don't even know who that person is. I guess that's who I was then. But as we evolve and grow, part of this series is just keeping it real and having you guys know, as a therapist, I have issues. I have old traumas. I have wounds. I have anxious attachment. I have shit that comes up. I am going to tell you some of what happened. And I promise to keep it real. And so I'm going to tell you a bit about what happened. I'm not going to tell the whole thing. And then I have a whole section on how we, and I'm hopefully demonstrating that real time. It's really important to me to be genuine, to be authentic, and to be living proof that it's not fucking easy. It is not easy to do this today. I do not want to be doing this. I'm doing it because I have a commitment. And you have a commitment. You have a commitment to your job. You have a commitment to your clients. You definitely have a commitment to your kids. And so part of what this is, how to show up when you're in your back seat, or how to show up when you've been, kicked in the ovaries by somebody that you love. And then I'm going to end with one of the most powerful things that, I've learned and I share with my clients very often is deciding when to fight and deciding when to give up. So I just wanted to let you know where we're going and that this is not like a bitch session. So I really am going to struggle through this part. But again, I promise to keep it real. And I actually just asked my producer to pause because I just don't know if I can talk about this, because it just happened this morning. And this is about how to show up when shit happens. So it's not about the stuff. It's not about the thing. So I don't know if it's important. I guess I'm going to leave it with, it's about my mom. It's about my mom. And it always is. It's my wound. It's my lifelong wound. It's been happening since I was a child. I'm 49 years old and it's still happening. And it happened this morning. And basically, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's so funny. So this is the lesson. I'm like talking through it in real time. I'm talking through it in real time, which can be horrible and hopefully helpful, because it actually doesn't matter. I am heartbroken. I am in my back seat. I have a mother who does not want to be in my life, for, in my opinion, very stupid reasons, and has literally just cut me out of her life because I can't be who she wants me to be. And that's all I need to say. That's all I need to say about that. And I'm heartbroken. And I have to do a job today. Thank God I don't have clients. I will say that. And so let's talk about how we can show up. Choices that we can make when COVID happens, when our kiddos are sick, when our mom tells us we're a terrible person and she doesn't want to be part of our life anymore. Like, how do we show up? So I was actually with somebody the other day. I'm not going to say who it was, and we're not super close. And I knew something was off. I mean, I know this person. I see them all the time. I knew something was off. I asked, and they said, "Oh, everything's fine. Life is great. It's good. Oh my God, everything's fine." I mean, she didn't really say it like that, but you know what I mean. I could have done the same thing today. I could have shown up, blown smoke up your ass, pretended like I was fine, and you would have smelled that shit a mile away, because we know people's wonky energy, right? And so what I wish she would have done, and what I'm trying to witness to you today, not witness, to be an example of, I always say that wrong, is that I wish she would have said, "I'm kind of a mess right now, and I don't really want to talk about it. And so can we just talk about you? And I appreciate you asking, and I'm going to just, honor that I'm not ready to talk about it." And I would have been like, "Absolutely, sister. Absolutely. And I love you for being transparent." So that is what I'm trying to talk about today, is how do we show up, be genuine, be authentic, be in our front seat, because our front seat is honesty. One of my best friends and I are having a conversation, and I was just telling her the truth will set you free. All right. So my truth is that this happened to me today. My truth is that I'm heartbroken. That's my truth. My energy is my truth. And that is what we can do to not only be truthful to ourselves, but to be more genuine in our relationships, to let people know where we are and that we're handling it instead of pretending. It's just part of the hustle, right? I mean, I don't know if men do this. I don't really know. I don't have a lot of male friends, but I certainly have a shitload of female friends. And I know this is just what we do. It's this waspy bullshit culture that we don't talk about what's really going on. I remember back when my marriage was falling apart, and for months and months and months and months and months, I just pretended everything was fine. And I had horrible interactions with my friends. It was totally fake. It was super surface. I was a hot mess. And then when I started to speak my truth, the truth will set you free. When I started telling, again, it's not about all the details, right? I don't need to tell you all the details. You don't need to know all the details. But what I can share with you is my truth. And back when I did that back then, every relationship except for one couldn't handle it. They just didn't know how to get that deep. But we're kind of still friends, but it kind of ended it back then because she just couldn't deal with it, and which is fine. Every other relationship completely changed everything. They opened up, they shared the bullshit going on in their relationships. They shared anxiety and depression. And I mean, it transformed every relationship but that one way back then. And I'm deep, deep, deep friends with all of those people except that one person because I came with honesty. And so today is about that and helping you possibly do the same and not hiding, not letting things like this keep us from authentic conversations and genuine connections with other people. I will say too, it's also a test. I mean, it's a test of the people in your life of whether or not they can meet you where you're at. I haven't told a lot of people, but I've told a couple, and it's amazing. It's amazing the love that you get back when you show up real. So how can you show up? How can I show up? So number one, letting people know where you're at, that you and that you're handling it. So you can just say, I'm a hot mess today. I'm totally in my back seat and I don't want to talk about it. And anybody who's healthy will respect that. And if they don't, then you need to continue to put them in their place or just set a boundary. Okay. Number two, acknowledging without having to share all the gory details. Like if it's your bestie, obviously I'm not going to share all the gory details on here, but you better believe I forwarded that email to, a couple of my best friends and my sister, of course. And so I have a support system. So let me just say that too, that this is not for sympathy. This is not what this is about. I lovingly ask that I don't want to tell you what to do. I don't want to say don't do it, but I don't need that. I don't need rescuing. I don't need caretaking. I don't need any messages other than maybe I love you or thank you for this awesome episode, because I have a support system and I hope you do too. I have a therapist on call that I need when I need her. I have best friends. Many of my friends are therapists. So I have a huge support system. If you don't have one, please get one. Please get one. And again, if it needs to be me, if you need a therapist, then let me know and we can find a spot for you, because it's not about going to fucking Facebook. And I just can't with that. I can't with that, by the way. Like, that's not real. And so that is not why I'm doing this episode. I want to be very clear about that this is an opportunity for me to keep it super fucking real with you, and that this is what's going on. And I am absolutely heartbroken, totally in my backseat, and I still have shit to do, as do you. I mean, I don't even have kids. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how you do all that. And so how do we show up? Number 3, wow, my eyes are so blurry from crying. I can't even read my own notes. Number 3, let people know what you need. Let people know what you need. I just did that. And also what you don't need. I don't need to be rescued. I have a support system for that. Let people know what you need. I reached out to somebody and just said, I need a hug later today. I need a hug. I need you to call me. My bestie didn't even know I needed a phone call. She just called me immediately and was just like, tell me everything. And so ask for what you need. And it may be, I need something, or I need a minute. I need space. I need whatever. I don't know what. I'm not going to do numbers because I have a long list. Asking for help when you need it. So reaching out and asking for a therapist, asking your bestie, asking for a friend, asking for whatever you need. Ask for help when you need it. This is a big one. This is something that whatever number I'm on, 6, let's just say. The next one, this is a big one for me that I am working on in my life right now, which is self-soothing. Instead of being reactive, instead of, triangulating with my sister, which the 3 of us are really guilty of doing over the last million years, is just not triangulating, not roping in people that don't need to be roped in to upset their life. Yes, we need support. But again, self-soothing. So, this happened super early this morning. I have just been sitting and journaling and bawling my brains out, and took a walk and took the longest shower I've taken in a long time to wash that off. I'm going to eat a very healthy lunch, right? I'm self-soothing versus reacting. So it's being somewhat, I don't know if it's proactive. That's probably not the right word. Again, just self-soothing versus reactive. I have not responded. I may never respond. I don't know. But I'm also not reactive in terms of, yelling at her or responding or anything. Just taking a hot minute, which takes a lot of restraint, I think, and maturity, and self-soothing is absolutely something I'm working on in our life. So how can you show up? You can self-soothe. How else can you show up? You can cut out anything unnecessary. So Tuesdays, I do this. I don't see clients. I probably would have rescheduled some of my clients because I wouldn't have been able to serve them as well as I needed to for the first few hours of the day. It's about noon right now, and I'm feeling somewhat better. I'm able to do things like this, but I'm also not responding to a lot of Marco Polos right now. I'm setting some energetic boundaries of what is unnecessary. I also wrote down letting clients know. Again, if they're going to sense your energy, right? People at work, your clients, they're going to sense some energy. So I believe strongly in Tao. I've talked about this before. Tao being TAO, transparency, authenticity, and openness without having to lose your shit. I lost it a little bit earlier, but, being able to pull it together, get your job done, take care of your kids, work, do your podcast, see your clients if necessary, and letting them know, hey, if you sense some wonky energy today, please know it has nothing to do with you. I'm human. I have things going on in my life. Period. End of story. Again, saying I don't need to be rescued. I have a support system for that. Obviously not telling them what's going on. It's none of their fucking business. It's not part of that. But this is how we can take care of ourselves and then also show up. Again, going and seeking some sort of weird, external validation on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. I don't know. It just feels very anti-self-soothing. Whatever the opposite of that is. And then taking a break, letting yourself bawl your brains out, taking a 30-minute shower, taking a walk, allow yourself to take a break, do whatever you need to do, cancel plans. I have plans tonight with 2 of my best friends. I'm going to lean on them hard and talk through this with them, and they're both therapists, which is very, very helpful. But taking a break when we need to. I've already said this, but it's still on my list. Cancel your day if need be. Cry, let it out. Walk, scream. I'll be honest, I'm going back and forth from bawling my brains out and then cursing my brains out. I'm angry, which I know is a secondary emotion, and the real emotion is just deep, deep, deep sadness. So I know when I'm angry, it's not actually about anger. It's about being heartbroken. And so just allowing that. And so those are how I am showing up, how I suggest that you show up, because the reality is life is life. Life is life. I thought we were fine. I thought we were fine. This is my anxious attachment. I'm fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. Nope. Apparently, I'm not doing things right. I am now a horrible person. And she is literally cutting me out of her life when I thought things were fine. So there's so much in that is none of, no offense, your business. And I still have to know who I am and show up, and how I can show up being heartbroken. So I'm going to end this with two things. So it's deciding when to fight for a relationship or when to give up. And these two questions, I don't know, I've come up with over the years, I guess, so the first question to ask ourselves is the relationship worth it? Is the relationship worth it? Obviously, the relationship with my mother is worth it. So part 1A would be, does it still fit in to my current life or my future life? That is a very important piece of this. So when I'm helping clients through this, it's the question of, is this somebody from your past? Is the relationship worth it for now or your future? If these are high school friends and you're now, 25 or 30 and you're fighting for these friendships that when you were a completely different person, I mean, hopefully you're a different person, evolved than you were in high school, and asking ourselves, does it fit in? Is it worth it? Is it worth fighting for? And then if no, it may not be worth it. If the relationship is not worth it, then oftentimes we get to just say, okay, I'm going to mourn the loss of this relationship, but it is not worth leaning into, right? It's not worth going through. It's not easy. None of this is easy. Having a difficult conversation sucks ass. It sucks. Even for therapists, it sucks. It is not fun. And so leaning in and having a conversation with somebody shows that you care. It shows that you matter. It shows that it's worth it. It shows that it's worth it. And so that is part of it. But if the answer is no, it's not worth it, then move on. Then mourn, get a therapist, grieve, but feel all the feelings. That's a completely separate episode. Feel all the feelings, self-soothe, cry, get a therapist, move on. But if the answer is yes, then you need to proceed to question 2, which is, can the other person meet you where you're at, emotionally and maturity-wise? Another way to say it is, can that other person hear you and see their part? And that's probably the most painful, is when you do lean in and you take time and you are met with somebody that can't do that. There's a lot of different reasons for that. Emotional maturity, a lack of self-awareness, a lack of doing their own work, a lack of therapy, but not working with somebody that is your equal. Having a conversation like this with someone who is not going to see their part in it or not see what's actually happening it's exhausting. It is not worth the effort to do this with someone who has an addiction, a lack of self-awareness, or unable to see their part. If they are just constantly blaming you, everything is your fault, they aren't talking to somebody else, they aren't seeing their part in it, it's futile, unfortunately. It's futile, unfortunately. And so I will leave you with my favorite saying, my favorite acronym. I have lots of acronyms, as you know. One of our greatest wishes in our lives is to be hizzled, which is to be heard, seen, and loved. And this goes along with, if I ever write this next book, Healing the Hustle, the fourth one would be love me for who I am, which is, these are my wounds. This is who I am. I am going to show up unapologetically who I am. And if you cannot love that person that I am or who you are, then we have to move on. That becomes toxic and unhealthy in so many ways. And so I will leave you today with that, mostly because I want to go be, and I am done. So I love you. I hope this was helpful. I do believe this is part of healing the hustle, is also asking yourself those questions. I guess part 3 of that question would be, are you people pleasing this person? Are they bullying you? Are you scared to stand up to them? Are you scared to say what you really want to say? Are you walking on eggshells? And we're doing that a lot in this hustle culture, especially as women. We don't say what needs to be said because we're afraid of the response. We are afraid to be ourselves for so many different reasons, but this is one of them. So my friends, I encourage you that when you are not okay, to share that. Again, we don't need all the gory details. We don't know all the stuff. Have a support system, find your people, be honest as you can without, again, sharing all the stuff. And it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. All right. I'll see you next week for my 100th episode. This is not what I meant to do for my 99th. I had a whole nother thing today, but I couldn't pull it off. And so next week will be my 100th episode. I promise I won't be crying during that. Actually, I can't promise that. I cry almost every episode. I think there should be an E and maybe a C for crying each episode. I think I probably have that on most of them. So thank you. And I will see you guys next week for the 100th episode. Bye.